Chicago Bears fans, this loss stings. What the hell was that finish? Caleb Williams showed flashes, but he also disappeared for big stretches, and so did Ben Johnson, outcoached by Kevin O'Connell. On the flip side, the defense had dudes flying around, keeping this game in check until the fourth quarter collapse. But here's the reality. You can't blow a double-digit lead with sloppy penalties, poor execution, and shaky game management. We have seen this time and time again here in Chicago. Now it's gut check time because the Lions are 0-1, hungry, and if the Chicago Bears don't clean this up fast, week 2 could spiral ugly, putting the Bears in a massive hole to start the season. I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On. With me tonight are my co-hosts Bob Weiss and Justin Onayemi. This is the Halas Huddle, where we will try to find the positive in this disappointing loss.
Win or lose, we're talking Chicago Bears here on the Halas Huddle, and we appreciate the support and dialogue with the growing number of huddlers. Like, comment, and subscribe so that we can get through this all together. So we're going to go right into the mauling report. So that's just going to be kind of like our quick reactions to the game. And I'll start here, guys. Going into the game, I was like, this feels different. And then coming out of the game, I was like, this feels the same. But, you know, even with the first half looking fine, what I appreciated was being in the live chat with you guys, because there were some things unfolding in real time that kind of showed where this was headed. And just my big picture thing is, let's remember this still is a bit of a flawed team, and some growing is definitely going to need to happen. I still have a lot of faith that Ben Johnson and his coaching staff are the right people to hopefully change the direction of some of the things we've been seeing. But at the same time, and we're going to go into it more in depth, I do think Ben Johnson has a lot of learning to do for in-game head coaching. We saw that. I am a Caleb believer. Go back and watch the episode on projections I have for him. But a little bit of doubt started to creep into me in wondering, like, can he run an in-game, in-the-flow game system? He can make those amazing plays, but we need to see some of the basics. So quick wrap up here. I was hoping this was going to be a game that you won and had a lot to learn from. But as we saw, they kind of blew it. But I know we're going to wait for Bob to go last and help us out here. But Bob had them starting 0-2 and still coming up with 11 wins. So I'd love to hear what he has. But first, Rob, what do you got?
All right, so my reaction, guys, what a gut punch to the start of the season. I mean, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson come out looking like a dream pairing in that, smooth first drive. Touchdown on the board. Everything's clicking. You're thinking, finally, we've got an offense with some juice. And then flatline. Drive after drive of missed chances, questionable play calls, horrible passes, just absolute inconsistency. Still, the defense is battling, right? You had a 17-6 lead in the fourth quarter, and all you have to do is close it out. I want to say saw that the Bears hold the record over the last few years of having a double-digit lead in like double the amount of every other team having a double-digit lead and losing in the fourth quarter. Yes, poor game management, brutal penalties, a missed 50-yard field goal that could have iced it possibly, and then you got the refs making it feel like Chicago was playing like 12 on 11. Caleb, again, up and down, flashes of greatness, followed by accuracy mistakes that killed momentum. And now here we sit, watching the Vikings walk off with a win. And they had a win they had no business stealing, right? That's the part that stings the most. This wasn't a game where we were outclassed. It was a game that was handed away. Week 1, and we're already talking about heartbreak, wasted leads, growing pains. I know it's only one game, but man, it just feels like deja vu. It's a different coach, different QB. Well, same QB, but same old story. And the energy was there, and then it just slipped right through their fingers. That's all I got.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say that this game was fun to watch. Like, obviously, it was a horrible watch in that second half. The Bears absolutely blew a lead. But you look at that final score, 27-24, and just take the game flow out of it, right? Just add up what one side did, the other side did, and put them together. The Bears lost by 3 points, and that's all it really was, okay? The Bears lost by 3 points, and they made nothing but mistakes in penalties. Obviously, were the big thing. Those false starts, the pass interference was just, bad defense. Like, that's just textbook pass interference, right? There's just a lot of things that can get cleaned up penalty-wise. There's things that can get cleaned up pre-snap, obviously, okay? Not just the false starts, but you kind of get the sense that the issue with the running game was actually identifying the Mike, whether that's Caleb or whether that's the offensive line being on the same page, whatever it is. The running game didn't go off the ground because they're having trouble, like I said, just identifying the Mike and getting the play to the right side. So that can get cleaned up, right? And obviously the missed throws, like Caleb isn't going to miss 7, 8 wide open throws every single game. And he doesn't have to hit all 8 either. He has to hit 2 of those open throws, and it's a different game. So my point of all of this is, like Justin already said, when we did our preseason predictions, I had the best record of the three of us at 11-5, and I had them starting off 0-2. This was a 3-point loss with lots of room to grow into. So yes, let's all be upset as Bears fans that we saw an embarrassment on Monday night, right? That was one of my bold predictions, that we weren't going to see an embarrassing primetime performance. It was an embarrassment. But let's not get so down on ourselves that like this just going to be the same old Bears again. If you can, watch the condensed version of the game where they just put play after play after play after play. I promise you, there was almost twice as many good plays the Bears made as negative plays, but all we're remembering are the 5 wide open misses, the 6 wide open misses, right? That's what we're remembering, right? Like there's a lot there. Yes, it looked like the same old Bears, but the offense was different. The opportunities were there. Wide receivers were open all over the field. It's going to come. We're going to get better as the season goes on.
I knew you could do it, Bob. You made me feel so much better already. So.
All right. Well, again, thank you for the positivity. I'm going to try to bring it for the rest of the show as well, but I'm telling you,
we can still be mad. I'm not saying let's not be mad. I'm saying let's not say the season's over.
Sure. It's one game.
I hope I didn't say that.
It's one
game.
No,
I trust me. I've seen enough
the general
chat and comments today. Like, yeah.
All right. We're going to go into our next segment here. This is going to be Inside the Den, where we go inside the game and we break things down, things that we felt were important that we needed to discuss. And right off the bat, we got Caleb's accuracy issues. Look, the first one that comes right off the bat, right off the mind, right, is the DJ Moore missed throw. That was the post corner route. To me, when I'm watching that play, like it looked to me like he was going to Zacchaeus on the left flat. And I don't know if he just saw DJ screaming open. I don't even remember if he put his hand up or not, but you could tell like his head moves, right? Like he saw it. So was it actually the second read? Was he looking, OZ's way in order to get DJ free? I can't tell you that, but his footwork was not there, right? Like he throws it with his toe pointed where Zacchaeus is. So then his throw is it's off. That being said, it also almost looks like DJ Moore should have just kept running his route. And it's like when he looks up, it kind of slows him down, because if you look at the back corner angle, it was there. There was a chance of him making that catch. I don't know if it's just a timing thing between the two of them. Because look, they run these things in practice all the time.
On that one. I'm not the
only one out there. There's literally quarterbacks, current or former quarterbacks out there who are saying the exact same thing that I just said.
Okay.
So
I'll have to take another look.
Yeah, no, it's out there. Like, I'm not the only one saying this.
Well, I don't know exactly how a play is designed, which should be his first read, but at the game time and position in the game you have to see where DJ Moore sprung open. And I agree with you. He didn't position his body to make that throw, but that was only one of several. And again, to Bob's point, maybe just the bad are coming to my mind. But another play people are going to talk about, we'll mention it in the Johnson effect, going for it on 4th and 3. I personally, and I believe I speak for many, the whole show maybe, did not mind them going for it there. The play was very well executed, or should have been. It was well designed and conceived, and it was a bad throw by Williams. So missing him there, that's a big one. Even the one Komet caught was not a good throw. And
great catch, though.
It was a great catch. But there's been some times that he just isn't delivering on particular throws that you'd like to see, and that's a carryover from last season. We're hoping for different this year. But to me, and I'll toss it to Bob in a second here, there's accuracy on the throws, but to me, there's also a part of this that is his reads. Because I think that miss to DJ Moore at the end of the game is because of how he was reading the field. And some of these things still just aren't coming out on time. And some of the time there are guys breaking open, and let's be honest, there's NFL open compared to college open. He's not seeing them as open, or he's not throwing it thinking they're open. And so that all goes into it for me. Then again, he started 10 for 10. So to act like he was just throwing them all over the place is not the case. Some of these screens that they like to throw, those have to be positioned perfectly great. Because even during his 10 for 10, one was like a completion of Romadunze for a loss of 4 because he threw it so wide of where the target was. So they're going to have to clean up those kind of details. I trust that they will.
Yeah, I mean, the more and more I watch Caleb play, the more I got a weird comparison, but he reminds me of Javier Baez, where he's just such an instinctive player. He can make all these crazy plays. Like, how can you be running full speed to your right and just sling it right on a dime to Romadunze on that sideline on that first drive? But then, like, in the pocket, you can't just make the right read and get it out on time, right? So because that fundamental stuff isn't there. And I know that that's what Ben Johnson is working on, right? We had 5-6 weeks of training camp, but we're talking about trying to rewire a kid, right? Like, completely rewire, who may or may not be receptive to being rewired, right? So hopefully he is, and this is just his first full game action with an actual coach in his head teaching him how to play. And it's just one of those things. Hopefully you learn and grow from. Like on those misses of those slants. He missed that one slant to Komet, and he missed that other slant to DJ Moore in his post-game press conference. He said the same things, like, man, I did everything right, and then I missed the throw. So it's like he's going through his progressions, but then what he's got to do is just like add setting your feet and making the throw to the last part of the thing to do, rather than just letting instincts take over and then you just kind of miss the throw. So it's something that I hope he just kind of gets better as he gets more comfortable with the reads, and then, you know, he's allowed instincts to take over a little bit more, I hope.
The Moore miss and the Komet, both on slants, it's like he also is just firing the ball. And sometimes it's like, okay, a little touch, you know, but
like what he said, though, he said, all right, I made my read. I look the linebacker off, and then I sling it. So it's like, it's almost like he's slinging it while he's still looking the linebacker off. And I think he's just got to make that one little mental tick to the next last part and deliver the throw. And hopefully that comes. But, you know, again, this game changes if he makes 2 of these completions. It's a different game.
Again, it just seems like a timing thing, because some of these were anticipatory where he's throwing the ball. If, for example, the post corner route, like, he's throwing the ball before Caleb's fully out of his break. Like, it's just overthrown. All right, let's move on. Justin, you already mentioned it a little bit with the Johnson effect. We were hoping for the Ben Johnson effect in a positive way, but did we get that? I don't know. To me, it looked like just a guy calling his first NFL game, and he had some ups and he had some downs. I will tell you, the Romadunze touchdown, that play was phenomenal. I want to see more of that. But to your point, Bob, I said that backwards. To your point, Bob, look, there was many times where there was someone open, and it just, whether Caleb didn't see him, there was times where people were breaking open and Caleb was already making a decision to try to move within or move around the pocket, and then he's not looking downfield. But there were some management issues. Justin, I'm going to throw it to you. You said 4th and 3. So I know where you're going with it, and I'm excited to hear what you say.
Yeah. So, I mean, I liked the call. I don't like that they needed a timeout to make the play, to call the play. But, hey, I still felt they called a good play. We just talked about how Caleb should have hit that. Caleb knows that. Everyone knows that. But here's my problem. We know, or we believe, I should say, that Ben Johnson's going to be an aggressive, kind of go-for-it type of coach. He's told us this. He comes from the Dan Campbell tree. That's what we expected. So no one should have been shocked at that. But then, in real time, our dialogue about how they ended the first half was so bizarre. And this is coming from the guy that's like, I'm going to be aggressive. We're going to, put our, on your throat and win games. They were really passive, really timid. This is with a 4-point lead, playing for a field goal, basically. And you do actually get the field goal, but you let Minnesota come right back and kick the field goal back, and so you only go into halftime with a 4-point lead. This was at a point where if you do say we're going to go in and score a touchdown, you go up 14-3, you use up the whole clock, and you get the second half kickoff. That's a whole different thing. That's aggressiveness. I felt they were timid, and really at no point after the game, other than thankfully the pick 6, did they ever really have control over the game. And so it's like, I don't know if he got, gun shy because of the 4th and 3 wasn't converted. But I hope that one outcome wouldn't be the reason, because it is kind of like the analytics of We're going to go for it. Sometimes we won't get it. That's when you trust your defense, but we're going to go for it and we're going to be aggressive. And I don't know where that went.
My feel for that is that he was just trying to play it so perfectly. Let's get the touchdown right as time expires. And then that second down run only got like 2 yards and it left him in a 3rd and 8. And I just think it was just things that didn't work together. I think, he said in the post game that he'll learn a lot. And look, this is something that, I try to talk about all offseason whenever I got a chance. First year head coach, right? Even though he was an offensive guy, even though he's an analytical guy, all these things, when the bullets start flying, it's different. So, even with that challenge that really had very little chance of getting overturned, like he said it again today in his press conference that, you basically said someone was in my ear, like on the sideline, saying that I'm pretty sure his knees were up. I'm pretty sure his knees were up. Whereas replay guys, it sound like we're telling him don't challenge it, and he challenged it then, right? Like these are first-time head coach mistakes that I hope he's going to learn from. And that first 4th and 3, like I know there's probably some people in the comments, I saw it all day. You got to kick a field goal. You got to get the field goal there. Look, it's a percentage play. It's not 100% that you're going to get it every 4th and 3. But if you do that all season, you're going to convert more than you don't. And in the end, you'll score more points over the course of the season than you don't. Right. So it's just one of those things. He was 0 for 1 in this game. For whatever reason, he got gun shy at the end of the, end of the half. And I think you could even argue that maybe he should have gone for the 4th or whatever on Cairo's 50-yard. Like if you would have done all 3 times, maybe he converts 1 and this game is different again. So it's just first-time head coach.
Well, and unlike his predecessor, he right away says, I'm going to learn from doing the process we've talked about, and I'm not going to make that mistake in the future on that challenge. How different is the game if you have 2 timeouts at the end as opposed to 1? So again, you just trust that this process will be different. And this doesn't look like a organization still that's going to go on a 10-game losing streak. At least I hope I'm right about reading into the leaves on that one.
I'm going to touch on one thing and then we can move on to the next things. I feel like you guys hit enough here. Going back to that 4th and 3 play. Look, we in the chat, like texting, like we knew that's what he was going to do. He set it up on that 3rd down run, right? Like he ran to set up the short distance 4th down. You knew he was going to go for it. The problem is that too often they were finding themselves in 3rd and mid, 3rd and long all day, like all night. And it was just, they couldn't get over it. They just kept biting themselves in the ass. All right. Look, the defense started out hot. The defense started out great. And look, they got a pick 6. They put points on the board. Thank you, JJ McCarthy. He was, obviously what helped them win this game, or the Minnesota Vikings win this game. But at the same time, he also gave up 6 points. So I'm kind of frustrated with the narrative that's going out there right now on how great JJ McCarthy was versus how bad Caleb Williams was. I kind of found them to be very even in many ways. They both had a lot of good plays. They both had some not so great plays, and they're just 2 young quarterbacks. One who knew of this system, because look, Kevin O'Connell was there last year. It's not like he wasn't there injured, studying everything. How many times do we talk about having a sit-down year is a beneficial thing for a quarterback? I just thought it was his first game. He was going to have the jitters, and he did. Mm-hmm. He eventually got over them. The pick 6 just put it right into his mind, like, I'm just going to go do it, and he slung it, and it worked. And Caleb Williams is learning a new system. So I'm going to still give him the patience and the grace that I gave Justin Fields. I gave him 3 years. I'm going to try to do the same thing here with Caleb. It's going to be difficult if we keep losing. But then the defense falls apart in the second half, or the 4th quarter, I'm sorry. I don't know if it was just the play calling changed. I don't know if they were just gassed because, look, they were out down 3 guys. One of your best players ever in Jalen Johnson. TJ Edwards is very good. Kyler Gordon, we've talked about him being, we're hoping to him have a breakout year this year in this defense. It was very frustrating to see the running game just kind of just pound and pound and pound, but that's usually what happens. And they set up the pass with the run, and they took advantage of Chicago. Bob, I mean, how much emphasis, how much impact are you putting on the defense falling apart there at the end?
I mean, it was huge, obviously. I think a lot of it had to do that the defensive line just isn't as deep as it needs to be still. I think they got gas. I think they played really well in the first half. And we even talked in the chat, like they were stopping the run and not even letting, and then putting pressure on passing downs where the secondary didn't even get tested, right? And then by the time the defensive line kind of slowed down a little bit and there was some time for McCarthy to get a throw off. The secondary got exposed because of the injury. So it's just, I don't really know what the answer is. Like you'd like to see that defensive line be as fearsome as like. I was actually surprised that it didn't seem like Dennis Allen blitzed as much as we were expecting him to blitz. And then, Aaron Jones makes a play every time he plays the Bears. And this time he burned, I forget if it was Sewell or Hippolyte, but it just, got jumped in coverage and give JJ McCarthy some credit. That was a dime right to him. And
I mean,
there it is.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, you said the fourth quarter. Yeah, you slipped up and said the second half. I still feel like it was like a slow burn because you were only up 4 at half, and you had played a great half, and you had held Justin Jefferson to 1 catch for 3 yards. You're not going to win. I mean, if you tell me he's only had 1 catch for 3 yards, you should already be up by double digits, and they were up 4. So you kind of saw it coming. I mean, it took us a while to get into the show to mention that you were missing Jalen Johnson, Edwards, and Gordon. But hey, it's the NFL. If you don't have the guys, you don't have the guys. But it does end up showing up at some point. And so, it just was an ugly way to watch it happen. But let's keep going. There's more to talk about.
There is. All right. Let's move on to a guy that I've been wanting to get out of here for the last 2 years. Cairo Santos is a liability again, not just in his missed field goal. Like, look, he had the distance, right? He just shanked it a little bit to the right. But this is a situation that we're in consistently every year that he's the kicker. And I know he hit the 57-yarder or whatever it was in preseason. And then it was like that next day, the guy that they brought in, and I'm blanking on his name,
Kim,
out of Michigan State. Jonathan Kim, thank you. For Michigan State, like he was literally cut like the next day. Like, oh, well, Cairo can do it. We don't need him. But then at the end of the game, look, in this press conference, they were expecting him to get it out of the end zone, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close.
They shouldn't have expected that, first of all. If you've scouted your own player, you could have kicked it out of bounds. I still think at that point in the game, with the situation being what it was, an onside should have been on the table. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, I guess, at this point. It wasn't really mentioned by too many people, but the block punt as well. I mean, special teams played a role in this. Torrey Taylor, he booms the hell out of the ball. He seems slow on his kicks. Of course, when he gets it blocked, it's going to definitely seem that way. I almost said it early in the game, and I wish I had, so it'd be time-stamped in our thread, but it was an all-around loss. Let's put it that way, because I thought special teams in the return game wasn't good either, so there was lots to fix up, and like Bob said, you only lost by 3 to a really good team.
Two things real quick on special teams. One, like Devin Duvernay was your big all-pro whatever, and they kicked to him every single time, and he really didn't do much with it. And Luther Burden touched the ball one time and got it out to the 50. So I don't know if we can just clone Luther Burden. I don't know if you just put him and DJ Moore back there. Like, I think the NFL might go that route if that's what this kickoff rule is going to be. But, yeah, not great from Devin Duvernay. And then I'm obviously Cairo Santos is not an NFL kicker anymore, right? He doesn't have the leg for it. But at the end there, like, is Torrey Taylor not able to just definitely get it out of the end zone there, right? Like, it's really on the coaches for putting Cairo Santos in that spot to have to hit it as perfectly as he's possibly capable of hitting it to give themselves a chance to win the game.
I mean, to Justin's point, you kick it out of bounds, you give it to him in the 40, it's only 5 yards further down the field.
So real quick, I think this new kickoff and everything is for player safety, right? That would be the reason. These kick returners are getting jacked up. I am not putting DJ Moore back there. I mean, I don't know what's happening now because you just don't have that, blocks in front of you. So it's just like, not just in the Bears game, all weekend, there were guys getting just jacked. Crazy.
All right, let's move on to another thing that really irks me. Look, the Zebras made their mark in this game, and I don't like to blame the referees for the outcome of a game. The Chicago Bears had plenty of opportunities to put this away early, and they didn't. But there were two awful calls that were made. A horrible phantom holding call on Darnell Wright as they were driving down into the red zone. It was a nice play to Taylor Swift, to DeAndre Swift. And I believe he got to the first down marker on that. And then it was called back for this holding penalty that shouldn't have been a holding penalty. And the NFL, these refs, what they're seeing is just that last second. They're seeing him pushing him down. And honestly, the guy he was going up against, I don't recall who it was, just fell. Like,
wait, now I have a theory. If we're going to blame refs, we might as well blame the fields keepers at Soldier Field. So you have 5 concerts in 5 days leading up to the first game of the season. You're right. The guy basically lost his footing, but that's what made the ref think it was a flag. So maybe they need a new stadium soon. Huh?
Arlington Heights is on the way. 2031, they're saying. So.
Later.
I don't understand that one where it was like a pass interference where the guy slipped on his route as well.
That was the number 2 call.
But even so, like, why wasn't it then just like defensive holding? Like, that wasn't like it was on the breaking route. Like, it just didn't make any sense of why they got all the yardage to where they thought he was going to be when the ball got caught instead of where the contact was. Like, it didn't make any sense.
Should have been a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, we still gave up the first down, but why all the extra yardage?
A couple of drives later, they do the same thing to Odunze, and they did call it that way, where the Bears just got the 5 yards and the first down. And I'm like,
so that whole, let me go back to the holding penalty. That moved them back, right? Then they have an awful play, and then he has the intentional grounding, trying to get it out and can't get it past the line of scrimmage. That's what sets up that 50-yard field goal that Cairo Santos misses. Look, that holding penalty took, in my opinion, points off the board. It was essentially almost like a 9-point swing. You know, they get 6 and Chicago Bears almost like lose 3. Very frustrating situation. Now you go to that PI call that you bring up. That was if that play was 3rd down. So had they not gotten that, look, I know that it was the incidental contact or the holding or whatever, defensive holding, it would have been an automatic first down 5 yards. They still would have gotten the first down there. But if you go back and look, Stevenson, where he made contact was within the first 5 yards, totally legal. And then you got Jalen Naylor falling down. That's really what happened. Go back to the field situation again. He's literally falling into Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah.
And that ball was not catchable.
Well, so that ball might not have been catchable because he fell down, right? And I'm not suggesting that should have been holding, not pass interference. Like, the guy fell down. But even if you're going to, like, mistakenly say that there was contact and that's why he fell down, then it should have been holding, right? Like, it was bad. It was bad. And
we already touched on the fact that they gave a horrible definition on what happened with the challenge on the fumble. So I got nothing else with the refs other than they completely sucked. But the Bears need to do a better job, especially with 4 early first half pre-snap penalties. 2 of those on Jonah Jackson. Got to be better. And I don't know if that goes to Caleb. I know we've had issues with cadences where he's hiking it at the wrong spots. Guys in motion. We saw it with DJ Moore getting a penalty, not being set. And it's just a mess, and you can't have that happen. And I talked about it in our preview episode. I needed this game to be clean for them to win. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we go?
Pivotal plays. I know this is your favorite, Justin.
All right, I'll kick it off. So you said the monumental collapse of the defense. I think it started when Jordan Mason starts rattling off, 12-yard run after 12-yard run. I don't know what his yards per carry ended up being. And then when you pair that with, like Bob said, the Bear killer Aaron Jones, I think that did open up things for J.J. McCarthy. Go ahead and throw him in there because coming into your home field team and all that, blah, 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 he deserves to be pointed out too. So that's a trio of Vikings that were pivotal.
So I'm going to go a pivotal play first. Like, I know I'm going to go a little off the wall here, but there was a play in the second quarter, I believe, where both J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell thought that the play clock should have been reset. They were both going like this, and it didn't get reset, and then that ended up pushing it back 5 yards. And there's a shot of Kevin O'Connell on the sideline talking to the official, like, just as calm as can be, just like saying, I disagree with that, all this. And it's just like what else can you ask from your head coach to just exude such confidence and positivity when everything is going as wrong as it could? And it's just like, when your head coach is like that, that rubs off on the rest of the team. And it's no mystery to me why the Vikings are constantly in every game and winning these one-score games, because just like I said, just the confidence that that coach exudes like that. Like, it should, like, if that was Eberflus or that's any coach, like, just be honest, if that was me as a coach in a soccer game or something like that, I am melting down. And so it was very impressive to me just to see a guy keep his cool, keep calm, keep moving forward, and just staying positive, even when it's looking as bad as it could for his team.
Yeah, for me, it's just the phantom PI call because it led to points. The phantom holding call, which led to points. Like those two are obviously very pivotal in this game. Dio had an impact on this game. Like he looked way better than what we had expected based off of what we were hearing in camp and what we had seen in preseason. So congrats to him. I know he had one not so great play, but outside of that, like he was more impactful than Montez Sweat. So got to give him that.
So if you want to keep piling on the refs, he had the hands to the face that on the broadcast they said really couldn't have been called.
On that same play, Javon Dexter just gets grabbed from behind up the middle, but the referee is looking at the hands in the face that isn't even hands to the face and just ignoring that Javon Dexter got like bear hugged from behind.
Thank you for bringing up Javon Dexter. So I just want to point out he's way, way ahead of Jalen Carter so far this year. So I know Bob and Rob, you probably have a side bet going or something. So right now, point Dexter, 1 sack, and he played in the game.
So Dexter looked good. Obviously, he was a game wrecker in the first couple drives, but
where do you go?
Nowhere to be found in crunch time, right? That's where you got to make your money. That's where you got to be the man, you know. Not saying he can't or he won't, just saying nobody really was in the fourth quarter for the Bears.
And then I won't give Nahshon Wright a pivotal player award, but he definitely had a pivotal play with his pick six. He got taken advantage of quite often outside of that play. It was kind of gift wrapped to him, but congrats. That was a 74-yard return. So very exciting. Was hoping that would be what put us over the edge. All right. Last segment here is the Bears blueprint, and we're just going to quickly name what we think is the blueprint for future success. What do the Chicago Bears need to do between week 1 and week 2 to come out with a victory against the Detroit Lions? I'm just going to get mine out of the way. I already mentioned it once. They need to clean things up. This is not good when you're seeing 12 penalties for 127, 128 yards, whatever it was. They need to clean this up. And even with the 2 phantom penalties or 3 phantom penalties, however you want to say it, it's still not good enough. I want to see somewhere in like the 4 to 6 range at max.
All right, I'm going to go with something pretty straightforward and simple, and I know Ben Johnson agrees. They need to establish the running game. They had over 100 yards rushing, but I think 58 of that was all scrambles by Williams. None of those designed runs, by the way. So those are scrambles. He did point out in today's press conference that last year this defense was a top 5 defense, and they got thicker and what they think better on the front line. So maybe you were going up against a really tough rush defense, but I didn't love what I saw out of this new vamped O-line in every situation. But we keep saying it. This is a new system. They need to grow together. Hopefully they can establish a bit of a run game against Detroit.
Yeah, mine's more just mental. Like, just don't freak out, right? Like, just take this game for what it was. Learn from the negative. Recognize the positive. Like, that's something you're capable of doing. Learn from the negative, and just, it's not the end of the world that they lost one game. And it's got to be that way in the locker room. They just have to prepare for week 2 like it's week 2, regardless of week 1 was a win or a loss. Just, like I said, you got to learn from those mistakes. You got to figure out, like to your point, you got to figure out what happened in that run game. Why couldn't it get going? Like, let's just learn from that. Let's just, recognize that wide receivers are open and we need our quarterback to make better throws, right? And just not freak out about it, but use it to move forward.
So real quick, you mentioned Kevin O'Connell's, demeanor on the side. Let's compare that to Ben Johnson, who has an issue with body language, but that guy looks pissed off on about everything. So I don't know.
God damn, it's in there for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Hopefully things will change as things progress and they start to put some things together. And like you said, Bob, like they had 24 points. I know it wasn't all from the offense, but let's say, 17 points or whatever it was, if my math is correct. And not a clean game, not a good game. Like there was a lot left on the field. So if they can get things cleaned up, put this behind them. It's a short week. They got to get to work right away. They got to get to this Detroit Lions game, who only put up 6 points against Green Bay?
I think 9 or
they ended up getting a late touchdown. Might be catch of the year already.
Oh
yes.
That was amazing. Rookie Isaac, whatever.
Yeah,
something
Tesla.
Yeah.
So Rob, when you were comparing coaches, I thought you were going to compare him to Ted Lasso.
I mean, we might have to get him back on the show. I don't know.
All right. Nice one, guys. Better luck next week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. We will be back shortly with our preview episode, and we'll probably also try to get a midweek episode in as well. It's a short week, so we'll see how that goes. But until then, please bear down, claws up. Stay positive, guys. Stay positive.
Ready, break.